Alright guys, so this is the view from inside the car at night. I'm in a parking lot right now. These are just the low beams on at the moment. So let's take a step outside. You can see the color of them. They're very yellow, as you would expect from a stock halogen. So take a walk to the front here. You can see basic halogen setup. We'll do fog lights only. Pretty good. And then we'll do on the low beams. Boom. Pretty sick. Big improvement. Let's take a step outside. Look at that. It's probably going to overflood the camera here, but it's a big improvement. So the low beams give you a lot of distance. The fog lights give you some reach onto the shoulder there. I'll turn the fog lights off. So this is with just the low beams. Pretty good view. They go very far, much farther than the stock halogens. View from the driver's seat. Very nice. Very pleased with the end result. Would recommend LED swapping your Firebird. Just not with these ones. These ones are bad. Alright fellas, I've been working on this LED project for the past 2 days. I probably got about 6 or 7 hours into it. I ran into a problem. I thought I resolved it, but I did not. So I'm going to show you what's going on here. So late model lighting sends you this box, and you get these 2 boxes, and in the 2 boxes they send you this housing, right? In this housing, a bulb comes in there, which is this one. So I'm going to set the camera up so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so we have the housing they send you, which is very nice quality. See, it's got a nice glass lid on there. It's very nice, very clear. Nice metal construction on the back. It's a very good housing. I'm quite pleased with this. They send it to you in the box with the bulb in there, like so. Comes out of the box just like this. Okay, great. Try to install it. Here is the headlight assembly from my Firebird. Now as you notice, try to get a good angle here, it ain't gonna fit in there, right? So you gotta take the bulb out. Okay, fair enough. Easy enough. Pop the bulb out, set Mr. Bulb down there, and then we're gonna put the housing that says top. So you put the housing in the headlight, cool. Now just for speed, I'm not gonna put the trim on there, but you put the trim on and you screw it down, the housing fits in there very well. Then you try to put the bulb in the back, okay? So now you try to get this in there. Now if you notice, I had to cut 2 of the prongs off and bend the other 2 out of the way just to fit this bulb in there, okay? After a lot of cutting, grinding, swearing, and bending, I got this to fit in the car. So this fits in there. Oh, hang on. Okay, well I got it to fit in there, alright? I got it to fit, and then the connector that they give you, this little blue connector, goes in the bottom of the bulb, and it's got 2 little prongs on it that go into the connector on the car, like it comes from the factory. The little connector they give you is fine. It's a pretty good quality little piece, and it gets the job done. Now here's the issue. I had to cut the entire housing of my car up to fit the bulb that they give you. Most of this issue would have been resolved if they would have just given you a straight shot bulb to begin with. This is a 9006 bulb. They didn't tell me that. I figured that out because I have 9006 bulbs and I test fit one in the housing and it fit. So this is a 9006 bulb. If they would have just given me a straight one, we could have avoided all this. But I had to cut this all up. Not a big deal. It's okay. You don't see it. It's not like I ruined the car. Just very irritating and time consuming. But okay, so I got the housing in there, I got the bulb in there, got the connector on. Get the car, put it all back together. I can do it pretty fast because I've done this so many times. Turn the lights on, lights come up. Really nice bright white light. Works really well. The housings, project onto the road very nicely. Now, we'll take a look at the car here. Now the passenger side here is the side that I took off. So here's the connector they give you, right here. And it's got prongs that go into the stock connector. I have it taped up just to keep it stable. This whole piece here worked really well. The only problem is this connector, when it's on the assembly on the car, it gets wedged into here. And then when you try to close the headlight, this gets smashed onto the body of the car and the headlight doesn't close down all the way. You can see it on the driver's side here. You see this giant gap? Very large gap, much bigger than factory. I have a good example of a Trans Am right here. This one's never been messed with since it's left the factory. You see that? Tiny, tiny gap. You look at this car. Very, very large gap. And I have rebuilt this and taken it apart and putting it back together many times, and I've never had a gap like this, okay? So it's not like I'm stupid, because I've replaced the motors twice, I've replaced the gears before. It's like I've had this apart, I put it back together, I'm very good at it, and I've never had an issue with the gap until I put these LEDs in. So I'm thinking, well, what is with the LEDs and why do they keep it from closing? That's the problem right there. This side is fully assembled with the late model LED put in there. It's got the housing, it's all fit in there. It works very well, except you see this connector? It's smashed in the body. It's actually crunched in there. So that's why this housing does not close all the way. So I'm not very pleased, considering I spent big money to get these late model LEDs. This was not sponsored by any means. I bought it, I paid for it, I installed it, and I'm not pleased. Massive gap. The passenger side was actually even worse. It was about twice this gap. That's why I took the whole thing apart and said, well, I got to make some serious modifications. So now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be purchasing some additional 9006 bulbs that, instead of an L shape, I'm going to be getting a straight shot one with a wire coming off of it. Now what that's going to do for me is that's going to put this bulb the same spot in the housing, except it's going to get that connector out of the pinch in the body. So essentially what I'm going to be doing is moving this connector. I'm still going to be using this connector, but I'm going to be moving it into the bumper where it's got more space. And hopefully that'll buy me the clearance that I need to close this headlight all the way. Very annoying, very irritating. I'm quite angry. I'm not pleased with the product for the money that I paid for it. I think the housing they give me is very, very good quality. I like this housing. I think if this housing was 40 bucks a piece, I'd be fine with it, because then I could just supply my own bulbs and put it together and it would be very easy. But it was $170, and I checked the website just for fun today, because I purchased this kit about a year ago. I checked their website today, and this kit, the same kit that I got, is $190. So you're talking 190 bucks, and they give you this bulb that just doesn't work. It does not work with the car. Not pleased. Not pleased. Captain ThirdGen is mad. Alright, so it is a few days later now. I have received my new bulbs. You see here, you can see there's not an L shape. This is the bulb that they supplied with the kit. You can see it's an L shape. That does not work with this application in this car, like they said it would. So here's what I got here. These are straight shot bulbs. They do not have an L on them. You can see they got a wire hanging off of them. But I think that's going to work, because then it'll be the wire coming out of the housing, not that big connector that's getting pinched within the body of the car. So hoping that these straight shot bulbs, they plug right in and they work. If they don't, kind of screwed. So I'm going to try to install them, and I'll get back to you on how it went. This did turn out to be correct. The bulbs that late model lighting gave me, these L-shaped ones, they're just not going to work for that car. They're just not going to. So I replaced them with the straight shot bulbs that I bought off Amazon. They were 32 bucks, something like that. They went right in, the late model lighting housings, and they plugged right into the connector, the 9006, and they work. You can see the headlights are sitting nice and flush now. You can see there, that's a pretty much near factory gap. No complaints from me there. So there. It all worked out in the end. I just figured I'd give you a little tip. I got the bulb in there. I think it's going to work. It looks like the wire's gotten me the clearance that I needed. But I'm going to give you a little tip right here. So from the factory, the arm on the headlight motor has a little snap ring on it, and when you remove it, you kind of like throw it all over the place and you never see it again. So what I use these little cotter pins, and I put it over the arm, and it keeps the arm from going out. I always thought it would, you know, push this off and it would be flying all over the place just like the snap ring was. These seem to hold the arm on there pretty sturdily, so I like these. They're a lot easier to work with, and if you take the headlights on and off as often as I do, it's nice to have this on there. Okay, so I got the bulb in the housing, as you can see there. Kind of a tight fit still, but if you can see this wire hanging off here, right here, I'll try to prop the camera up a little bit better. Right here is where the connector was on the supplied bulb. So you see now we just have this nice thin wire that'll hopefully buy us clearance. I'm hoping that this little driver thing doesn't hit the body, but we're gonna see. So then I'll plug the connector they gave me, L8 Model Lighting gave me, into this, and hopefully that'll work better. So we're gonna put it on the car and see what happens. Alright guys, figured I would show you what's going on here. So I got the bulb in, I got the wire hooked up to the connector. It all fit, it all worked together. So now we got to see if it'll open and close all the way, because it did not before. So hope for the best. Guys, it worked. My idea worked. See, look, nice flat flush finish there. We got enough clearance there with that wire instead of the connector. I think this is going to work out really nice. Boom. Boom. That's what I'm talking about, boys. They both work. They both go up. They both light up. Now let's try to put them down and see if they sit nice and flush. Nice and flush. Nice and flush. Job well done. Alright guys, so all in all, would I recommend the late model lighting LED conversion kit for the Firebird? No, I wouldn't. I'm going to sum it up for you. The housings they give you, very nice. I like those a lot. The connector they give you, this little tiny thing, that worked great. No complaints there. The bulbs that they supplied with it, there's no chance of those working with this car. Because even after I grounded the housing out, modified the whole thing, it just wasn't going to fit. Because when you put it in the car, they would go up, there's enough clearance for it to go up, and when they go down, it went on the connector that went right onto the bulb, it would smash onto the car, pinch the connector between the body of the car and the headlight assembly, and it would prevent the headlights from going down all the way and sitting flush with the bumper. So for the amount of money that they charge for this kit, I would expect more. I thought the housings were in line. I thought they were quality housings. They seem to work very well. The connector, I think that's fine. I think that if this kit was half the price that it was, I say yeah, go for it, because you can do a little modification like I did, or a lot of modification, and it'll work, and it works on my car, and I'm happy with the performance of it. But if you're expecting this to be like a direct replacement, like I think it should be, it's just not going to happen. And I think that's unfortunate. I think it's unfortunate how much money that they charged to sell me this kit. And if it would have been a direct replacement, no mods, nothing, just works out of the kit like it's supposed to, put it together and in the car, I think for $170, I think it would have been fine. I would have been happy with it. But at 170 bucks, then I had to cut my housings up and bend the tabs and grind the plastic off, just to realize that the bulb that they gave me is still not going to work, and then have to pay $32 more for new bulbs that are more, friendly to this style of car. It's just irritating. It's just annoying to me. Not pleased. Hopefully, the later kits that they sell now, I know that they have upped the price on them. They are now $190 for the kit that I bought, which I think is outrageous. Hopefully, they at least give you the correct bulb now, because I bought this kit about a year ago and I'm just now installing it. But hopefully they have resolved that and given people straight shot bulbs that work like I put in my car. So I hope that anybody else who buys this kit, I hope it goes better for you than it did for me. And all in all, I would recommend going another route. I have a Trans Am over there that I'm planning on doing an LED conversion to. And I think I will be making my own setup for that car, just because I think it's going to be a lot cheaper and probably even less work than this setup was. So my plans for that car might be, maybe cutting this out, maybe modifying the stock housing to accept an LED. I don't really know yet. I'll make another video for that car when I get to it. The car's got a lot more issues right now. But for the late model lighting kit, just don't expect it to work out of the box, because it doesn't. If you want to buy it, if you like a project, then go for it. If you like, throwing money at a thing where you got to grind your whole car up to put it on, right on. Good for you. That's not what I was expecting. That's not what I wanted. For the money they charge, I was expecting a lot more. But it is what it is. It works. That's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching.